Hi there, and welcome back to Culturally Sound. I am here with Essi Monneus of Automatreex. Essi, what got you into IT and tech?
As a person, I love solving problem, and there's no better industry to be in than tech. If you want to keep your sanity, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, don't we know that's the truth? And I mean, I think one of the biggest frustration points can also be tech.
Yes. Mhm.
When something doesn't work, there isn't too much more that's frustrating than that. What? How did you find yourself in this space?
Um, I started. It all started in 2020 when we had the pandemic.
Mhm.
I was actually in pharmaceutical, and out of a sudden, my role they were not necessarily obsolete, but there was many people doing it, and then my degree wasn't necessarily required anymore because people could be trained to do the job. They needed so many people, so many hands on deck to get those tests, those very first COVID tests out of the door. So after that, I decided to pivot into tech. I taught myself to code, and then I also attended multiple coding bootcamp and finally got a job as a software engineer and then later as an IT project manager.
Wow. And where did what prompted you to go away from pharmaceuticals and into tech? Because that's on the outside looking in, that looks like a pretty big pivot.
Yeah, only just by a few, because my degree itself was in biotechnology,
Okay.
so it was more like my niche was informatics, so I was always coding and doing that, but more in the pharmaceutical. So it was just like different problem, but same skill set. Mhm.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Mhm.
And was this sort of appreciation for technology, was that from a young age? Were you introduced to it early in life, or was it just once you sort of got into the pharmaceutical space post university? What did that look like?
So I grew up in Africa. I came here actually at the age of 19,
Mhm.
and I have very humble beginning, and I always find it fascinating when I saw people on TV with all this technology and the thing that they say that it was solving. And I always do pretend and play with my parent where I'll create like computer or like my card, like nurse card, and make them my patient. So I was always curious. I just didn't have the tool, but I always told myself one day I will have the tool to make my vision come true. So the first opportunity I got to learn, I took it.
Good for you. What did those? What was the sort of the aspirational element that intrigued you in tech? Like, what would? Because I mean, I have three daughters of my own, and none of them have created a computer to solve a problem with me. That's a pretty unique solution for you. What prompted or inspired? I mean, I understand, seeing people on television and doing some cool things, but I mean, that's that's an interesting detail that would sort of prompt you to do that.
Yeah, I just couldn't understand how it all comes together. I just wanted to know so much. How does it work in the back end? What did they got to put together to make it work the way it worked? So when I took my very first, I took some free courses and taught myself to code. And then when I wrote my first JavaScript code, and then I saw it on the I preview it and he was like, "Hello world." I was like, "Are you kidding me? Like, I can write this and then I can see it in real time."
Right.
And that is when I told myself I cannot stop anymore. I just gotta learn more about this. Yeah.
That's outstanding. And so, where has that sort of taken you? at this point in time? Like what was that journey from, the little girl that sort of tried to solve problems with their parents to where you are today? What did that journey look like?
So it looked like me coming to the US and having a total culture shock because it was like nothing that I've ever experienced before. The language was different. We speak tribal language and we also speak French. And although we learned English at school, I wasn't fluent. And you was just going through all those and what felt like a difficulty all the way to graduating, having an associate degree, then a bachelor degree, and just trying to find where I fit in the world. Then taking those coding bootcamp and building my very first application, the front end and the back end all by myself. Uh, Learning how to set up server and user interfaces, and I just, like I said, couldn't stop. Then I went on and discovered that I had talent for project management. I first took the free Google course, career course certification, and then went on and become a certified project managers professional. And with that, I was able to reinvent myself again and land a role as an IT project manager.
Hmm. Hmm. And so that's sort of where you are currently then, is working
Yes.
in that space. And
Mhm.
the what programming platform did you sort of work through initially? Like what was your first platform that brought so much light?
That was free code camp. Yeah,
Gotcha.
you can find them. Yeah, you can Google them. You can find them on YouTube. They have tons and tons of content, and you can literally learn from zero to like I don't know. I don't. There's not even an endpoint to what you can learn on that platform. Yeah.
Right, right. And so with that, you've pivoted out of pharmaceuticals, and here you are, project management of IT. What what's the most exciting? Like, I mean, AI agents, is that sort of the most interesting thing right now, or am
Yeah.
I already behind the eight ball there? What does that look like?
No, no. AI agents are now the 2025 topic.
Okay.
Yeah, and that is what is most in demand with my clients.
And what does that look like? I mean, the evolution of AI from when it was sort of mainstream introduced with the boom of ChatGPT, and now all of the other LLMs that have sort of come through. What does that iteration process look like? I mean, it's just moving at rapid pace compared to other technologies that we sort of looked at. Um, what does that look like today? And do you sort of see some beacons or landmarks that we should be looking at to understand how it's going to push forward in the next 6 months, year?
Yeah, so a lot of people don't know, but AI has always been around.
Right.
For as long as technology has existed, AI has been around. People have always built assistant. Uh, Back in 2020, when I was actually taking my first boot camp, we actually built an AI assistant using Python language, and me and my teammate, we built this small app that you upload a picture of a mushroom to, and then it will tell you if it was poisonous or if it was safe to eat.
Hmm.
And none of us had an idea that 5 years later, now you can do that with your phone. Because back then, when we built it, we have to upload the picture ourselves, like upload the file.
Hmm.
None of us were thought that now you can just do that with ChatGPT. and
Mm,
just pull up your phone and do that. So you can see that for the past 5 years, it has been around, but just because so many people weren't using it, we didn't have that hype. And now that so many people are using it, we have it. And because of so many users now, many brands have to differentiate themselves and try to solve different sort of problems. So in my opinion, the next 6 months are gonna have even more AI tools just for like literally everything. But my thing would be to advise everybody to have caution when you are sharing your information with those devices or those software. Just be mindful because you don't know where that information is landing
mhm,
and how secure the back end is to protect your information.
mhm,
So, in my opinion, I think from the next year coming, what we are going to hear more about will be regulations,
mm.
because there are so many issues that because with everything it comes with the good and the bad. And I think now it's time to set up a good infrastructure to prevent the bad.
Right.
Mhm.
And what might that look like? I mean, um, the rise and the pace at which social media became predominant, it seemed like it was never really regulated as well as it potentially should have been. So, is this like, do we is it government regulation? Is it private regulation? Is it what's the governing body look like? And how does that implementation, like, is that going to restrict creativity? Is that going to put us, in North America, is that going to put us um, at a competitive disadvantage? What does that look like to you?
Well, if you compare us to other companies, our biggest competitor right now would be China. If we can use China as an example,
Sure.
China, as opposite to us, they are already censored. So we can just assume that everything that they putting out there, it was already censored by the government. Us, on the contrary, we have freedom, and that is the beauty of America. But at the same time, there are so many people who don't do good things with freedom. So I think we need to have that regulation in place. I don't think that is going to stop any creativity, but I think that we just need to have that enforcement that everything that is put out there is done with ethic.
Hmm.
Yeah. Mhm.
And do you put that in the hands of the government to, like, federal, state legislation, or is this a private body that would be regulating that space?
I think both. Just because I don't mean to offend, but the government is sometimes slow,
Hmm.
and we have so many urgent matter in the country right now, so we just don't know when this will happen. But it won't hurt to have also private institution to regulate the industry,
Interesting.
as long as we can have our legislator enforce that and make it into a law
Hmm.
that can stand in court. Yeah.
Right,
Mhm,
right.
mhm.
Interesting. Okay. So with that in mind, where does the greatest gain? I mean, I think a lot of criticism comes from, oh, great, AI is it allows me to make a personified doll in a plastic box of me to post on socials. That doesn't necessarily sort of promote or advance humankind in any way, right? Like, it's fun and it's great to see, and that creativity is always nice. But where does the the greatness of AI really start to hit for you? I mean, coming from pharmaceuticals, is it speeding up lab testing? Is it iterative processes with sort of engineering or mathematics, or what does that look like to you?
For me, coming from a biotechnology, bioinformatics background, I would think, just like you said, increase the speed of testing, and just being able to uh, take us a step forward. For example, when we are doing research for cancer and things like that, if we can speed up those type of research, that will help humankind. Um, if we are able to calculate how to reduce the carbon emission and things like that, to keep keep us healthy, find healthy alternatives to produce on a greater scale organic food, for example,
Mm,
because food is killing us, and things like that. Just find what works for the earth,
mm.
what is organic, but speed it up with the help of AI, clean the planet. Mm.
So, I mean, that's a pretty profound statement to suggest that food is killing us. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yes, I have a chronic condition, and it's directly linked to the food that I consume and pretty much causing like all sort of inflammation. And I totally pivot to eat organic and do research, and sometimes ask ChatGPT about like alternative recipes for
Yeah.
like those vegetables that I don't like.
Right, right.
Like I like broccoli, but you cannot get me to eat eggplants. So so just things like that just to help us stay healthy and get to know more, because there's so much that we don't know about benefit of the food, and there's also so much we don't know about the GMOs and things like that. So that is what I meant by food killing us, because
Mm,
I think if for example bugs cannot eat like some type of genetic genetically modified food, I think they know better, that's why they're staying away from it. Yeah, because at a very young age my grandma taught me something, like if we are going to buy spinach, she will always say like look for the leaf that was by the bug, because if the bug cannot eat it then it's probably not good for us.
huh.
So I always keep that in my mind. So if we make the food so pretty and it lasts in the groceries, but bug don't want nothing to do with it, it's probably not good. Yeah. Mm.
I mean, it seems like a reasonable conclusion for sure. I don't have much of an argument for that. There's there's a lot of research coming out around a protein keto recently,
Mhm.
and I mean not recently, but within the last few years, recently in a human evolution standard, is rose to popularity. Um, and when we look at the framework of that diet versus paleo versus, and I don't know how much expertise you have in this space, but
No.
it's kind of an interesting evolution of dietary popularity. And I think, you know, you referenced your grandmother's wise words. Mine always said, everything in moderation. So to suggest that, you don't eat purely protein or purely vegetable or purely, one thing or the other, you just have a little bit of everything and add in
Mhm.
diversity. Don't always have the same thing, have something different. Kind of speaks to what you were sort of pointing to there. So
Yeah, and I'm not a nutritionist expert, and people should always like get the advice from an expert, but
of
this is
course.
from my own experience and my own research. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. No, fair
Mhm.
enough. Okay, so I mean, interesting diversion from what we were talking about.
Mhm.
Um, what's most exciting for you about sort of where you're situated and what you see coming at you? What is making you like get excited to sort of get your feet to hit the floor in the morning right now?
All right. So I probably should have started by that and introduce myself, but I'm the founder of Automatreex. And what I do is I build automation for business owner. And what get me excited in the morning is the opportunity to make help. one founder gain their time back so that they don't waste time away doing manual work. Mhm.
That's excellent. That's and what does that look like? And some examples of recent developments or recent projects that you've done.
Okay, so one of my client is in the insurance industry.
Hmm.
And so what they do is for big companies. So I'm talking about companies that have at least thousands of employees.
Hmm.
They get them set up for the insurance for the whole company. So they have to get information about every single employee, the company information, and that is a lot. So recently, I built them an automated system that they can just send to the representative of the company that they are working for, and just have them fill the form, which come back to them as a PDF, and that is automatically saved to the client drive. So, for example, if my client has 50 different companies with 1,000 plus employees, this system it scales with them. It remains the same, it performs the same, and it's still saving them time.
Hmm. Hmm.
Mhm,
Excellent.
mhm.
And it what's the evolution or what would the iteration next phase look like as technology advances? Is there a way to sort of improve or streamline, or what's the next version 2.0 of something like that?
Okay, so the version 2.0 probably to scale to an AI agent, but I say that with caution because right now I'm actually working with a partner attorney where we are trying to put another service on top of that. So before building the agent, we need to put some kind of cyber intelligence in place to make sure that there is no leak
Hmm.
in the infrastructure that we are building for this company,
Hmm.
so the data is safe before implemented. So once we know that it is safe to put out there, the next phase will be to have the information submitted to the agent, and then the AI agent completes the onboarding. Versus my client analyst now having to interview every single company, she can just outsource that to the AI assistant slash agent. Yeah.
Right, right. And that would be through just a natural language chat conversation, or would that be a voice call? What would that look like?
Right now, a chat will be what works for them because for every infrastructure that I build for my client, I always look for the technical aptitude. I don't want to introduce them to something that is too advanced
Hmm.
so that it slow them from doing their work because they have to learn this new tool. I always match their like you say, maybe the energy in the room, but in the tech industry, we'll say like the technical aptitude of their team. Yeah.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And so when I hear that, it's understanding, for some people, logging into a platform is a challenge. So if they can receive the conversation through a text message in a similar format or structure that they're used to,
Mhm.
aligning that technical aptitude between those two services would is sort of what you're pointing to.
Yes, that is exactly it. It can be in the form of email. It can be in form of submitting, uploading a file, whichever works for the team. So I
Right.
work with what works for the team.
Hmm. I mean that's seems so obvious, but I mean a real reasonable step. When we're working with clients and sort of reviewing a UI, a user experience or a user interface, definitely something that should be taken into consideration. So with that, we're building out sort of technology to be able to meet our clients where they stand.
Mhm.
What does that look like in maybe 5 years? Like, do you have a dreamer mentality that allows you to sort of, wouldn't it be cool if type of scenarios, or?
Right now I have a couple of ideas, but I just cannot disclose. Just for like trademark and patent purposes, but I have a few ideas. Yeah.
Sure, that's fun. That's
Mhm.
fun.
Mhm.
All right. So, um, how about where you see Automatrix going in the next couple of years? Is there a space that's exciting you? Do you have a vertical, or do you have a particular client that you enjoy working with that that sort of gets you excited, or should be reaching out to chat with you?
No, right now we are so young to niche down, and so far we are able to help everybody. I feel like it will come with time when we will feel like, okay, let's niche down to this industry.
Mhm.
But right now there's only seven of us, and we help everybody because every business needs a system. So we just available for everybody. Yeah,
Yeah, don't we know it?
yeah.
If if you were to describe yourself in three words, what three words would you use?
Mm, I would say compassionate,
Hmm.
um, capable, and curious.
Hmm. I like that.
Mhm.
I could definitely relate on the curious part. It seems like such a key element. When you're an owner founder or an entrepreneur or just interested in helping people, right? Being able
Yeah.
to sort of be curious about where they're at. Do you have a guiding quote, or do you have anything or a mantra that you start from, or anything like that?
Yes. So I remember when I got my first client, even though I was in tech, but I was still very nervous.
Hmm.
Um, I just didn't know because I just didn't want to let them down because I felt like this is someone who I say I could do something and they trusted me that I could do it. But then after like going spiral in my head, I told myself, hey, listen, we don't know everything yet, but we will find out. So now with every client that I have, I just tell myself, I don't know the solution yet, but I will find out. Yeah.
And I mean, that really sort of points to the capable and the curiosity, right?
Yes.
And
Hmm.
having the ability and the confidence to know that, with a little trust and with a little compassion, we're able to find the solutions as long as we're able to sort of work through the problem.
Hmm.
Do you have a morning routine, or anything that sort of supports you to get going in the morning, or an evening routine that you appreciate? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, I have an evening routine. My morning are pretty much chaotic because I have two little one. I have a 6 years old and I have a 2 years old. But
Oh,
even though I'm trying to tell myself that I have a routine, I don't. And it just it can be like a socks that doesn't match, and then everything just go. I don't know. But
I
my
I can relate.
evening works. My evening works because when they're asleep, then I can get my head together
Yeah,
and prep for the next day. Yeah.
nice.
Mhm.
Nice.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's always nice to get set up for success, and I can relate on the non-matching socks. We have a bin of I don't know what happens to those other socks, but it is a rough start when our youngest is not able to get her socks to match. So I
Yes.
can relate on that. What what would you say is the one thing that you're most afraid of, or that scares you the most? And this can be personal, professional, whatever you're willing to share. What is there anything that sort of keeps you awake at night, and sort of
Mm, that's actually an interesting question because I thought I had fears, but until you ask me, then I'm wondering like, what am I afraid of? I don't I don't think I have anything that keeps me up at night. Mm, I think it just comes from I'm just a person who's in acceptance that I'm not in control of things. I think that's why I feel that way. Don't get me wrong, I still have anxiety, but I've learned to work with my anxiety in the sense, just like I explained, I cannot control everything.
mm,
So, yeah, I don't think I have anything that keeps me up at night.
wise
Yeah.
words, and
Mhm.
I think there's a lot. there's a large lesson to be learned there, right? It is, and I mean, not to get biblical, and I, by no means am I a religious person.
Mhm.
Um, Spiritual, yes; religious, no. But the idea, the concept of having the ability to worry about the things that are in my control and let go of the things that are not, I think is a serious lesson for entrepreneurs.
Mhm. Yes. Mhm.
Are you a superhero person? Are you like a Marvel DC kind of fanatic, or do you have like a person that you admire that you sort of follow and model some of your actions around? What does that look like for you?
I like Wonder Woman, but I feel like that is a bit cliche.
Not
But
at all.
yeah,
Not at all. She is
I like
incredible.
yeah, I like Wonder Woman, and until recently when we have Wakanda, I can relate to like King T'Challa because I come from Africa,
Yeah.
so everything in that movie speaks to me. So I will say those are my superhero.
And wouldn't we love to find some utopian space that is hiding themselves from us to protect, everything else around us?
Yeah.
Listen, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you, and I've loved learning a little bit more about you and your processes and everything that's exciting you about inbound on tech. Is there anything else you'd like to share or point to before we sort of wrap things up?
Oh, sure. I can share with the listeners that until now, I was trying to find a way to help more
Mm,
funders, and I've decided to create like a course, a self-led course where people can just buy course and learn how to onboard a client or how to automate client onboarding, how to automate invoicing, and just a little bit of video format where you can see me do it and then you can replicate in real time, and it comes with cheat sheet that my team and I have put together. So that is one exciting things that we are focusing on right now to put that content out. So if anybody is interested, they can reach out.
excellent, excellent, and
Mhm.
I think we have an interest form link here that we include in show notes. What's the program called?
Right now, I'm just calling it Automatreex, but I'm sure my team will come up with a better idea than mine. But that is
Always
why
nice to lean on the team.
we bring people in to complement us because we
Yes,
just don't know everything.
that's
So
wonderful.
yeah.
That's great. That's great. Exciting to have a look at that myself. So, uh, Essie, it's been nothing but a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time and sharing your story with us. And I look forward to having another talk with you again soon.
Same here. Thank you so much for having me.
Wonderful.